Like, you know, to even do an interview is to start and say, where did Saxon start from, or how did Saxon start? That is long. That's like thinking, okay, well, we started from a dressing table drawer. You know, that's
a dressing table drawer. What does that mean?
Drawer. You know, a drawer, what people call closets now, or I don't know, what do they call them now? Cabinets? a drawer. You know?
Drawer.
Sofa, what do you call it?
Chest drawer.
Chest drawer. Yeah, that's how we really started out. Because before Saxon, anyway, another point, what I skipped over, I shouldn't have skipped over, is where Saxon started from was a sound called Imperial Rockers.
Yeah.
And that was 75.
Yeah, that's one thing that they do say in the write-ups on Wikipedia or something online. Because you said there's you didn't even have no input with this either. Because there's, say if I was trying to find history or input on MADDNESS Rowe or Saxon Sound, people just copy and paste the same thing over and over, and it's you know, it's not the actual full insight to it. Or it could be a fan that set up the pages to say the history, you know. You know, from going back as well from that Reggae Britannia thing, you know, when I was saying it's reggae music was rebel music, and how was it like, you know, from the 70s breaking out, playing your own music that the overheads wouldn't accept?
When we came in the 70s, we was a bit controversial because we was playing 85% of English music. Like this was the Lovers Rock era, the era of, you know, where those labels like Lovers Rock label, D-Roy, and there's various other labels. The studio where everyone was recording from was a studio in Upper Brockley Road called Dip Studio. But how I got into Lovers Rock now, I was in the record shop buying some records, and I met an elder called Dennis Harris, and I must have spent £36 in the record shop. And he said, "Little boy, we are doing so much record." I said to him, "I got a sound." He said, "You have a sound?" I said, "Yeah." So he brought me next door into his studio and brought me into his basement and made me listen to some of his tunes, and I was like, whoa. You know, first time going in a recording studio, I'm a little youth. Yeah. You know what I mean? I didn't even know a studio existed in my area. I just knew about buying records. I always thought everything was made in Jamaica, which is wrong, because a lot of the big hit tunes in the 70s and the 80s was made in England. There's no if, buts or maybe about that.
Well, that's very true.
A lot of people will argue the point, but the groundbreaking tunes were made in England.
Yeah. I mean, the Jamaicans did say the same thing in that Reggae Britannia thing. They said it was, England was the sort of output that broke most of the reggae music that we know today.
Well, yeah, that as well. Like, what a lot of people don't know, and this is why when TV programs like what came on the weekend, I wouldn't watch, because they didn't interview me and they didn't interview Muslim. And I think the biggest part of the reggae industry, well, let's not talk about the bashment industry, yeah? Let's talk about the reggae industry.
Yeah, the
Saxon Sound, after Shaka, Saxon Sound made all the marks. There's nothing what anyone can say. You can't say we didn't make all the marks, because reggae music was never as big as it got when we broke.
No, that's right.
You see, when we got through the door, remember, we went to America, yeah, in a time where reggae music was just going to America. And, you know, like even the sound, the first sound we played was a sound called Third World when we went to America, but they didn't understand the business. So what they thought, they got a tape from the dance what we played in Lee Bridge Road. We played in one with Marcus, Jamarcus Sound, in Lee Bridge Road. So they've got that tape from Lee Bridge Road now, and they've gone to Jamaica and cut all the tunes what we was playing. So it was funny on the night, well, the tunes what they was playing, I could kind of suss something, because they was playing all the tunes what we've got.
What you play, yeah.
But what they didn't understand is that we play tunes once and we don't play them again. Or sometimes they might get played 2 or 3 times, but they don't really get played again back in those days. And so when we was playing them now, they're playing back tunes, but we ain't got them tunes now. But furthermore, we didn't go there to clash neither. And this is what a lot of people don't understand about Saxon. We was never a clashing sound. all it was is that we always ended up into something where we just had to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Like people, I don't know, like this is why a lot of sounds got battered by us, yeah, because they built a plan, innit, and we never had a plan. We just came and done what we was doing, and then they would come at us not realizing, no, we're not going to come at you so quickly, son. Let's see what you got to offer first.
Yeah.
And normally, like Colonel's got a saying, it's a one-horse race, and it's always that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been pushed in the corner and I've been held in the corner for an hour or half hour. I'm not saying that every time it was an easy run. Yeah, because the sound what gave me the biggest surprise was a sound, well, they come from the capital of reggae still, so it shouldn't have been a surprise, to be honest. A sound called Volcano. Yeah, remember, Houston is the capital of reggae music.
Right.
It might not be now, because America's paying attention to reggae now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or they're paying attention to dancehall. But when it was reggae, the capital of reggae, don't worry about what anybody else wants to say, if it was made in Jamaica or whatever. The capital of reggae was Houston.
Right.
Yeah, but, you know, we still weren't thinking of these youths as being some youths that's going to come at us. We're just going to play in the dance, innit? And then they've come at us. And then we had a few more
Musical
rivalries.
altercations.
Yeah, and
is that because because of the way, the style, and the energy that you came with? Other sounds wanted to be like you guys, so they would have to beat the champions.
Yeah. It's like it's no different from like Mike Tyson getting in the ring, but normally when people get in the ring with us, they always used to come hard. You see, when they start out, they used to always come hard. But I don't know, like give it half hour, 20 minutes, and it's all over.
Yeah.
We ain't even started yet. We're giving them a chance to see what they're really about
Yeah.
before we start going mad on them.
So what was because when Trevor done the show, he said it was you that would get the dub plates, and you would get these artists voicing the dub plate specials for you. So what was you thinking at these times? I mean, this was still breaking music at the time. How did you get these massive, the half pints, and those favourites of mine that I love,
What it was, yeah, it's like, you see the elders what I used to spar with, like, they were the people that all these artists would come around. And I was just a brazen little youth, and I just say, well, I need this or I need that, and get whatever I needed, you know what I mean? And that's how it started. There was even like how the half pints, because, like, I could say a lot of things was controversial in it, like, but it's all honest in it. Like Jammies has been about years before Saxon Sound even got a rise up in the game.
Yeah.
Like Jammies used to work for Tubbies. He was a mixer in Tubbies. So Jammies ain't no yesterday thing. He ain't an 80s thing. But let me tell you though, like anyone can hide it or hate me for it, but it's a fact that I made Jammies be the recognized studio in Jamaica, and everyone wanted to work with him because Saxon was. So every sound around the world would work with Jammies because they've heard a Saxon tape. Because there's no sound that their tapes are floated around the world like Saxon.
No, it's true.
And what you got to remember as well, this is this is why it's kind of good that you're interviewing me as well, because the jungle era, but before we got to the jungle era, we had to go through our era, innit? Yeah. We weren't a jungle sound, but like.
But it was part to play with the early stages of jungle.
Yeah. We used to give them the set, like
the sound system.
Our set was that big that we could play 2 places at one time, so we'd give them the set, but we never really needed such a big set. So when from the Acid House days, from Desert, what was the first thing we done with the Acid House with Jarvis? What was it called again? What's it called again?
Desert Storm?
No, Desert Storm. Desert Storm was how funky. Acid House. When it was Acid House, it was. What was it? Acid House. Biology.
Okay, yeah.
Alright. Well, you see the biology thing. That's where like, remember. Biology, the man them from biology, most of the man them come from Saxon. Yeah. So
those are the ones that used to do the open air events and like the field events.
Yes. They're man from Saxon, like the roast man them. Roast, yeah. Kingsley and Everton and Christopher and Dorothy and Roslyn and what's the bigger brother's name? Cecil and but anyway, the Taylor family, they're the roast. That's who does roast now. They are one of the biggest punches in Saxon still, because we had bust from a little while still, but like when we played for their mum, it was like that was the opening. That was the opening for us. As a little Lovers Rock sound coming through. See, I'm jumping from errors to errors, but it's also to pay respect to the people that helped Saxon to be somebody. That's why I'm trying to find a venue suitable right now so I can keep something to call all the promoters what I used to play for back in the days, and you know, give them an achievement thing, because no, they didn't really play a part in Saxon, but they gave me something
there was a stepping stone. Yeah.
And if you don't remember the people that gave you the original stepping stone, then you ain't really serious. Yeah. And I'm a very serious person in life, and I think give respect to who helped. You know what I mean? I might not can give you £100, but I can give you an award. You get me? I can give you something you can hang up in your house and make your sons and daughters
paying forward, you know, or paying back as well to pay homage like people do to Saxon, you know. But it's those sort of things as well, because in current times, you know, from back then, you know, like you said, you started off in the mid-70s and that sort of stuff. I wasn't born until 77. So I used to listen to these tapes from my brothers and say, oh, what's this sort of thing? But, you know, in a West Indian culture background of a home, it was always either calypso or reggae music that we was listening to all the time. But these tapes, and it just captured me all the time from a young you know, and grew up with it. It was part of the furniture. That's what Saxon was in our household.
You know, funny you should say that, yeah. If you get into one of my son's cars right now, you won't hear nothing else apart from a Saxon tape. Yeah. He don't play nothing in his car apart from Saxon.
Yeah.
He might play something, you know, like some of the new youths what's around.
Yeah. But I mean, for being foundation from back then, from those tapes that have circulated the whole world to current times now, what do you say about Saxon sound system now? Is it where you want to be? Is it what's going on? Is it
the position the sound's in right now? No, I don't think it's where I want to be. I want to take it to another level, which is in the making right now. I'm going to take it to another level, to a level where, you know, the average mind won't think of going where I'm going to go this time, because you know, like Biggie Smalls made a tune. He said it was like a dream. Like Word Up magazine, Well, it wasn't like a dream. It was really a dream, because like how the sound had gone through errors, you know. Like we was a Lovers Rock sound at that time. The sound what was around, the sound what was the closest to who we was is a sound you've never heard of in your life. Yeah, when we was youths coming, a sound called Scrap Iron.
No, well, I've heard of it from the guys. That's as much as I know.
Scrap Iron, You see the kind of bad reputation Scrap Iron had. Saxon had the same kind of bad reputation.
Because it was said that, but did Saxon carry a bad man following, or?
Yeah, you know, like, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. It was a bad man following that. It was 5 of us that started the sound, innit?
Yeah.
Billy Latham, Curtis Henry, Michael Rennies, me and Musclehead. And obviously Billy Latham, he was just a disagreeable being, you know, like he would do the world's worst anywhere, you know, like he'll do things what, you know, you'll see it in the movie what we're making now, it's gonna all be in there, because you know, like,
let's not skate over that, because you've told me about it, but the listeners may not know. That is huge. What we know of sound system films, Babylon, that's it, you know, and you know, Babylon is one of those monumental stuff, you know, films that's got captures what it is, and you was in that as well.
I was in that movie, I was in that movie, man.
Yeah, and you see, so it needs something that an untold story that I've always said. I said it to Muscle and all those guys. An untold story, which is a British institute at Saxon Sound. That story needs to be told, because there's ins and outs. There's the belly of the beast, so to speak, and you know, the underground that hasn't been told, because on BBC or those sort of networks they will skate upon the top of it.
Well, look at this.
It's not mentioned.
Well, look at this then. You see, back in the time here, when we broke, this is the second time coming, because we was the third time coming, because we was Lovers Rock first, then we was a Roots sound, and then we came back with the rubber dub style. Now, when we came up with the rubber dub style, I come from Lewisham, innit? And Bros comes from New Cross, Peckham.
Yeah.
You know about that group, Bros?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Alright, so when Bros broke and we broke, it was both of us in South London as young youths who smashed the doors down. But what happened was, we was getting the paparazzis like Bros was, but Bros was getting a little bit more because they were white and we were black, but we were still, because at this time, what I'm talking about, black people wasn't in newspapers. You wasn't seeing black people in magazines. And if it was Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, who's got the big players behind them, the big drug dealers, to put the drug money up to back their thing. So I'm not going to hide what it is. Like, I didn't know. Like, obviously you have to sign a deal. The drug money doesn't just get spent on anyone. You sign a deal and then the drug money gets spent on you, you know, like, and that's the realest thing I can tell you. Like, all of these big record companies, they're all backed by gangsters. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we're not gangsters, are we? Okay, we were little madheads on the road, but like, we weren't gangsters and we wasn't affiliated because we were all black kids, innit? Like, remember, the industry of music, the music industry was not in the West End or in Hammersmith at the time when I'm talking. The music industry in the 70s, do you know where it was? It was all in New Cross. Right. It was in that gangster town, Old Kent Road, Ilderton Road. Ilderton Road is where all the record pressing plants was, CBS Records, EMI Records, they was all down there. Right. They weren't nothing to do with the West End. That West End trip was a new trip. They were all in there. This is why, if you go and look in the white world of gangsterism, Old Kent Road will always come up in it. So it shows you that the music business is full of gangsters, isn't it? And wrongdoers and worships of different things. You know, like, obviously we're young, we're black. No one's coming to us to tell us how this goes or that goes. We're just doing it off of our own thing. So back to what I was saying about Bros, they was getting the press, what we was getting, and more, because they was getting lots of TV press. Not saying that we weren't getting TV press, but they was getting repetitive TV press, and we was doing more than them. We was putting bigger crowds than them. Yeah. But they was getting the bringing, and now I've grown up and realised that this music business is full of corruption, and it's not what we think it is. You know, like, we all see the end part, and we see the glossy videos and the cars and the big houses and all that, what we rent for the day to make the video. And we don't realise, we don't realise how we do that because we're young, because we've never had nobody from the industry to come around and show us. Not like what now. I spent all my life in the industry, so now I help the youths. Like, you see, even the grime scene. Yeah. I took time out of what I was doing, put down what I was doing to help the youths, them in the grime scene. And like, if I name some of the artists out of the grime scene what I've been involved with, you'd be like, wow. But to the last one right now is Dot Rotten. Okay. Which was young Dot. Like, he was a terrible little youth, but you know, sometimes if someone puts a little bit of time into somebody, they will never come out of the nastiness, but they think wise. Yeah.
You need someone to school them. Yeah. Because they may not have that.
And right now he's doing well, and I'm glad for him, because I always told him he would do well. He just needed to not be affiliated the way how he gets affiliated. Yeah. You know, because sometimes the game has changed a lot from my time. Like, back in my time, people